landing on Cryptex land. Get off the ship and take a walk. Take any guitar and start your own band. Here you can sing, here you can talk, here you can say whatever you want. Here you can stay, become a mutant. Just try to be nice. For hate there is no space. Don't skate on thin ice. You better not run that race. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the rules. Don't hate but create. You are landing on Cryptex land. Get off the ship and take a walk. Take any guitar and start your own band. Here you can sing, here you can talk, here you can say whatever you want. Here you can stay, become a mutant. Just try to be nice. For hate there is no space. Don't skate on thin ice. You better not run that race. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the rules. Don't hate, but create. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the pose. Don't hate, but create.
Hello guys, Cryptex here. I think there's a lot of traffic today in YouTube. I don't know if we're gonna have a big crowd tonight. I hope so. Let me know if my sound is good. Yesterday we had Rukus as a guest in the channel. It was so nice to have Rukus here yesterday. He was telling us that he plays music, and I was so curious about that. So I just want to play a quick clip of Rokus playing some rock music before going into our topic tonight, which is the Wabash River search and the connection with Travis Drexler. So let's see Rokus moving his ass here for 2 minutes. It's fun. He's really in shape. I'm impressed.
Crazy about the sharp dressed man. Well, you can't lose when you dress like you
Okay, enough of Rukus. So good to see Rukus having fun. Hello, Junior. How are you? He was telling us yesterday that he had some health issues, and that's why I wanted to play a little bit of his music here. We can see him having fun, really in shape. I'm impressed. In shape, dancing, having fun. Nice band. Anyways, I just wanted to say hello to Rokus and just to send him the best vibes. I hope his surgery is gonna be successful. And anyways, it was so nice to have Rokus here yesterday. So today the idea is to do what I intended to do yesterday. So before doing that, I'm just gonna say hello to my people here. Shay Watson, finally you made it. Finally you're here on time. So glad to have you here, Shay. Happy for that. Mrs. Bojangles, how are you? Drawing rectangles. Yeah, love to you too. Junior Johnson, how are you, Junior? So what I want to do today is I'm gonna play some. Yeah, he looked like a rock star. He looks like that. I agree. Uh, I wanted to play some, well, not some, a video from. Thank you, Mrs. Bow. Rokus is awesome. Nice energy. A video from Mindshock. I don't know if you are familiar with Mindshock. I imagine that you are, because he's been here in this covering this case since the beginning. He's kind of special. He's doing his own thing. He's not doing collaboration with any other creators. He's just doing his own stuff here in YouTube, and especially in the Delphi's case. So when the Wabash river search was ongoing, he made a video just in the middle of the search, and I found some stuff there very interesting. So I want to play his video. We know that in his channel there's a lot of speculation. Junior, I always thought Mindshock was a woman. Me too. I was convinced he was a woman, but I think his name is Bruce McGuire, something like that. Yeah, so funny, man. And yeah, when the Wabash river search was ongoing, he made this video, and I think is interesting. So I just want to play it, and from time to time, I'm gonna stop it to talk to you guys. I know that there are a lot of YouTubers going live right now, so I don't know how's gonna be the traffic tonight, but at least we have some good people here in the chat. So no more protocol. Let's go with Mindshock here.
Every day, weather permitting, the team from the state police gather in a parking lot near the river, change into wetsuits, and get into the river. A few people with metal detectors have worked in various parts of the river, but most of the searching has been done on their hands and knees. Gill said, "I have not seen them bring anything out as far as evidence, but they carry buckets and things like that with them. I'm sure it is not something that you just grab and go running to the bank with." The searchers began around August 19th. That's the same time that court records show Klein was released from to the custody of state police in a court order originally sealed from public view. The court order did not specify the exact reason for the search, and state police have not commented on why to I-Team 8. Two court filings in August by Klein's attorneys.
Just to stop here the video, we know, but after the completion of the search, that this search was really a consequence of the interrogation or the interrogatory of Keegan Klein at the Grissom Air Force Base. So we know that this was not unrelated to the Kleins, especially to Keegan Klein's confession.
Say he was exploring other legal options and in negotiations with the prosecutor. But the Murder Sheet podcast reports Klein was present for a search of the river. Wow. I-Team 8 to the home of Klein's father, which is not far from the bridge, hoping he might share some info on the search. No one answered the door. I-Team also have reached out to Klein's lawyer, who did not respond. Okay, so supposedly he was also present at least one of the searches, and he's the reason for the search as the timing perfectly coincides. Huh. All right, so let's...
That I didn't know. I knew that he was confessing about some stuff, and because of that confession, law enforcement went to search the Wabash River. But I didn't know that Keegan was actually present during one of the searches of the Wabash River. So this information is really interesting.
Examine some theories here stemming from all of this potentially mind-shocking information with mind-shocking implications. From the Delphi Murders subreddit, Alana posted this: "Are they searching the river for the murder weapon?" They've been searching the river for 3 weeks now, right? This was posted over 2 weeks ago. They're using metal detectors. What could a metal detector find? Knives and guns. What else? So Keegan Klein appears to be the source leading to the river, right? And if he knows where the murder weapon was tossed, then he knows who murdered the girls, right? Question mark. Here's the thing, though. Is Keegan Klein just jerking law enforcement around, pretending to know stuff he doesn't? I mean, because how many criminals do that? A lot of criminals do that. You know, they want to delay this, delay that, especially if they don't like being in jail, which Keegan Klein is complaining about being in jail, etc. So is he just leading police on a wild goose chase? Because how long, if someone did toss something, I mean, how far would it be swept by the river? I mean, would it still be there after all these years? I mean, that's an important question.
That's a good point, but I don't think law enforcement is stupid. I think they have trained people in the agency to be able to determine if Keegan Klein was saying the truth during the interrogation or not. And of course, there was a polygraph there. So they found some truth in Keegan's confession, in my opinion. And that's why they went to perform the search of the river. Some truth was found in Keegan's words by law enforcement.
Some responses here. My thoughts are someone has told something significant to law enforcement regarding multiple items tossed in the river. The initial search yielded proof that the person's info was credible. Based on that, law enforcement is continuing the search for the other items they were told would be there. To establish credibility for the search in the river to even begin, assuming it's related to Delphi, the informant, whether Keegan or someone else, must have been able to provide law enforcement with information that lines up with the crime scene or the murder scene that only the killer, someone he has told, or law enforcement would know. I would postulate this, not necessarily. If law enforcement is grasping at straws, I mean, who knows what kind of wild goose chases Klein could lead them on. Other responses here. I agree with you. I think whoever shared info knew things that only the killer or someone the killer told would know. They aren't going to spend 3 weeks, over 5 weeks now, searching the Wabash River if they aren't confident that what they are looking for is in there. Perhaps whoever provided this information said that there was a knife and a phone, and they found one of those, so they are searching for the other. That's interesting, because if they did find an item early on and it was definitely connected, and the information was that there was more than one, that would definitely be enough reason for them to continue searching. Yeah.
And question for you guys in the chat: do you think that law enforcement they found something in the river? I think they found something. What's your opinion?
If that's what happened, that does seem to make kind of make sense there. All right, so let's move on to another major mind shock. So apparently Keegan Klein's cousin, Travis Trexler, who has a history of run-ins with the law going back several years now, apparently he was arrested for a warrant in 2021. And he was arrested at the same house that Keegan Klein's phone pinged. So let's go into this rabbit hole, because
that's a clarification to be made here. And actually, it was Ruckus who clarified that point yesterday in our channel. Keegan Klein's cell phone was not pinging near to the Trexler's house. Actually, the phone was connected to the Wi-Fi of, likely connected to the Wi-Fi of Travis Trexler. So that's the interesting thing here today. We're going to talk about Travis Trexler as the potential alibi of Keegan Klein in this crime.
The Trexler rabbit hole is quite bizarre, and the timeline as well, because apparently he was not in custody for a certain period of time, then he was apprehended, and this was all in the last few months. So all of these developments might possibly have stemmed from Trexler, Klein's cousin. So let's look at more comments here. The Mysterious North posted this. Apparently the arrest of Trexler lines up with the midpoint of the search. So this is plausible to me. Maybe Keegan gave information leading to Trexler. They found enough to charge. Now they want to ensure a conviction. Alternatively, perhaps both Trexler and Tony Klein were involved, and they still need to definitively tie Tony Klein to the...
So that's really interesting. We have the confession of Keegan Klein. The consequence of that confession is the search of the Wabash River. And right in the middle of the search, law enforcement arrested Travis Trexler. So the guy who was living in that house where the phone of Keegan Klein was connected to the Wi-Fi, so fishy, so special. Maybe Travis Trexler was the one operating the phone of Keegan Klein, and Keegan was actually driving to the cemetery with his father, while Trexler and another guy was operating his cell phone at that country club street. We have Annalisette and Jari in the house. Cool to have you here, guys. Oh, shit. Bobo, as usual.
Pas de nature morte. Ici, tout pousse au vivant. Je veux rester dans le bois assez longtemps pour que la forêt reste en moi.
22 by Richard Essex, kits and things like that with them. I'm sure it is not something that you just grab and go running to the bank with. The searchers began around August 19th. That's the same time that court records show Klein was released from to the custody of state police in a court order originally sealed from public view. The court order did not specify the exact reason for the search, and state police have not commented on why to I-Team 8. Two court filings in August by Klein's attorneys say he was exploring other legal options and in negotiations with the prosecutor. But the Murder Sheet podcast reports Klein was present for a search of the river. Wow. I-Team 8 to the home of Klein's father, which is not far from the bridge, hoping he might share some info on the search. No one answered the door. I-Team also have reached out to Klein's lawyer, who did not respond. Okay, so supposedly he was also present at least one of the searches, and he's the reason for the search as the timing perfectly coincides. Huh. All right, so let's examine some theories here stemming from all of this potentially mind-shocking information with mind-shocking implications. From the Delphi Murders subreddit, Alana posted this: Are they searching the river for the murder weapon? They've been searching the river for 3 weeks now, right? This was posted over.
So that's a good question. Were they searching the river for the murder weapon, or they were searching the river for the cell phone? What do you think that was the item that the clients discarded at the river? It's a good question to think about.
Over 2 weeks ago. They're using metal detectors. What could a metal detector find? Knives and guns. What else? So Keegan Klein appears to be the source leading to the river, right? And if
I think we already heard this. I had a problem with my cursor, so I'm gonna advance the video here.
looking for is in there. Perhaps whoever provided this information said that there was a knife and a phone, and they found one of those, so they are searching for the other. That's interesting, because if they did find an item early on and it was definitely connected, and the information was that there was more than one, that would definitely be enough reason for them to continue searching. Yeah, if that's what happened, that does seem to make kind of make sense there. All right, so let's move on to.
So according to Junior Johnson, his opinion is that law enforcement was looking for the phone, not for the murder weapon. That's interesting. I don't think even if a phone is found in the Wabash River, do you think it's going to be useful? I think the content, of course, if they find the phone of the bridge guy in the Wabash River, that's going to be like a corroboration that Keegan was telling the truth. But I'm thinking, do you think that the actual content of the phone is going to be like useful? Because, I don't know, water damage or something like that. But why don't you think that the actual item was the murder weapon? I'm just curious. Maybe you may be right. I'm just curious. Why do you think it was the phone and not the knife or the box cutter, let's say? And I said, the item could be anything or nothing. Whatever Keegan Klein invented and hoped it washed far downstream. Why do you think so? I think the bottom of the river is really like how can I say? It's like mud, and any item is gonna be stuck there. I'm not sure that the stream is gonna be able to wash that item downstream. And I don't think Keegan Klein invented that. I think actually that law enforcement, they found some truth in Keegan Klein's confession, and that's why they went to search the river. And he said, if a box cutter was used, how much importance attaches to a knife? And why were police looking at the sales of a certain bladed weapon? Surely not a box cutter used at CVS. Yeah, good point.
Another major mind shock. So apparently Keegan Klein's cousin, Travis Trexler, who has a history of run-ins with the law going back several years now, apparently he was arrested for a warrant in 2021. And he was arrested at the same house that Keegan Klein's phone pinged. So let's let's go into this rabbit hole because the Trexler rabbit hole is quite bizarre, and the timeline as well, because apparently he was not in custody for a certain period of time, then he was apprehended, and this was all in the last few months. So all of these developments might possibly have stemmed from Trexler, Klein's cousin. So let's look at more comments here. The mysterious...
Yeah, it makes sense. When Keegan Klein confessed, he said something about Drexler. It's so weird that Drexler was arrested just in the middle of that search, in my opinion. When we talk about Keegan Klein, we see 10,000 coincidences, and again, one coincidence, two coincidences, three coincidences is okay, but like 1,000 coincidences is a pattern. It's not just coincidences. So Keegan Klein confessing, the consequence of that confession is the search of the Wabash River. And just in the middle of the Wabash River, we have the arrest of Travis Drexler. There's a connection there, in my opinion, for sure. It's not a coincidence at all.
North posted this. Apparently, the arrest of Trexler lines up with the midpoint of the search. So this is plausible to me. Maybe Keegan gave information leading to Trexler. They found enough to charge. Now they want to ensure a conviction. Alternatively, perhaps both Trexler and Tony Klein were involved, and they still need to definitively tie Tony Klein to the crime. Another post here. Does it look like Trexler was mentioned in the interrogation transcript? Hard to tell, obviously, with names being redacted, but there were a few lines where Keegan gets probed on why he omitted a certain person of interest from a list of friends or associates.
Hey, hi, Slut. I dropped the link here if you want to call in. If you want to talk a little bit about the clients here, you're welcome. If you want to give a call to this channel, man, you're welcome. Just you have the link there if you want to call.
Okay, so Catch Me Trolls posted this. Yes, Keegan's phone was connected to his cousin Trexler's Wi-Fi on February 13th, 2017. Hence, Keegan's phone served as an alibi. Wonder where Keegan's phone was connected when he searched for the gas station in Delphi on February 13th, 2017. Why is he searching for the gas station, though? This is kind of weird, though. Like, whether he was there or not, what possible reason could there be to search for the gas station that allegedly the FBI was not able to retrieve the security footage from, allegedly?
Yeah, that's so weird. Keegan Klein looking for the address of the Marathon gas station on the 13th is one of those coincidences that are just mind-blowing, you know. And we can talk about Keegan Klein the whole night. We're never gonna end. What about Keegan sending money to Libby? That's one of the questions I'm always asking myself. I think Phoenix here is calling. Let's go. Hello, Finn. How are you? Can you hear me well?
What's up, Cryptex? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, nice to have you here, man. What's up?
Not much. I don't know. I guess I wasn't listening that closely. What are we talking?
My favorite subject or topic here, man. Keegan Klein.
Yeah.
I don't remember you have any idea about a potential connection of Keegan in this case. Can you just refresh my memory here, Finn? What do you think about that?
I think some of the Richie Davis stuff that came out is pretty compelling. And I think some of the Sergio like analysis is also pretty compelling. I think I was probably overly dismissive of his probable involvement.
Mhm. Do you think that law enforcement they found something during the search of the Wabash River? Any item there? A cell phone?
I mean,
or
I don't
knife?
think I probably I disagree with you as far as like I don't think that they found something that would lead towards Richard Allen. I don't know if they found stuff. I mean, they did find stuff. I just don't know that they were able to do anything with what they found. Like they found weapons and they found cell phones. I don't know what you can actually do with a weapon or a cell phone that you get from the bottom of the Wabash River. I mean, it might be completely useless. So you could have what you're looking for and just not be able to identify it, you know?
I don't know if the cell phone that they were potentially looking for, that cell phone had some type of specifics. Let's say, I don't know, some serial number or something like that. That could be.
I guess I don't really know too much about like burner phones and whatnot. So I mean, I don't think you have to be a genius to like take out a SIM card if it's a phone with a SIM card, and you throw the phone one place and you throw the SIM card a different place. I mean, that's what that one dude in the Karen Reed trial did. It doesn't take a genius to get rid of some evidence.
Oh yeah, that's for sure, man. And why do you disregard so solid or so adamant, let's say, in that adamant way, the potential connection of Keegan in this case? Just curious, not to challenge you.
That. I mean, I don't see any evidence that he's connected to Richard Allen, just because there isn't any evidence. I think it's totally possible that he's involved in the crime.
Sorry, I think we have Slot here. I didn't see him. I'm gonna invite him. Hello, Slot.
What up?
Sorry, I didn't see you, man. You were like in the bottom of my screen. Sorry for that.
Oh, no worries. I went to grab some water.
All right. So we have Finn and Slot here tonight. Thank you guys for calling. So yes, we were talking about the potential connection of Keegan. I don't know. Maybe let's switch to.
I think that.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a direct connection, he's absolutely connected. The amount of contact that he had with the victim, like leading up to the crime, that is a connection. Whether it's directly connected is questionable, but he is connected.
And when you say directly connected, what do you mean? What's the difference between directly and not directly, let's say?
Well, he's connected in that he had a lot of contact with Libby leading up to the crime. Whether he directly is responsible for like getting them out there at the time that the crime committed, I think is, I don't think there's anything hard that determines that. If there was, you would hope that they would act more on it.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Slot? I saw your recent videos about the potential connection of the clients with Allen and with the murders. I really liked the videos. Of course, since that aligns with my theories, it's not because I have like a confirmation bias here. I know that this is just a hypothesis, and maybe they were not, but I think when I connect the dots, to me they were connected. But I just want to hear your opinion here about it, man.
I mean, it's very interesting, the timing of the river search and the arrest of Richard Allen.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's hard to just ignore that.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't
100%.
disagree with that. Even like, I mean, I think that the timing is interesting, but I don't think that there's a causality necessarily, you know, or that. I mean, the main thing that I look at here is like the evidence put on against Richard Allen was so weak that if they had any evidence that they got from like the river or something, they absolutely would have used it, because they were, I mean, they're grasping at straws to try to provide something showing that he's involved in this, and they essentially didn't. So it's not really believable that they have some sort of secret evidence that they didn't put in the trial. Like, that just doesn't make sense. There's no reason to hold back on
Do you
good
think
evidence
that
that implicates the guy that you're trying to convict.
what do you think about the fact that Travis Drexler was arrested just in the middle of the search of the Wabash River, right after the confession of Keegan Klein, and
Yeah, that was
right before
interesting.
the arrest of Richard Allen? Yeah, go ahead, that's Lutz.
So was Kagan Klein's roommate for a weapons charge that was just miraculously dropped.
Well, I think that's something typical that you see in law enforcement. As far as, I mean, I think it was Vito is one of the guys that, like, even up to the trial and in the trial, that he was still stating that he, you know, it was his belief that Keegan Klein was involved in this. So, I mean, they say I didn't find enough to implicate him, but that was still a popular theory among law enforcement. So you see law enforcement put pressure on, you know, associates. You overcharge with a weapons charge and see if you can get this guy to give you anything. If he doesn't give you anything, I mean, what, you're gonna hold his feet to the fire over something really minor, or you're gonna let it go like you'd normally let it go? So they probably just didn't get anything from these people that they're trying to put a little bit of pressure on, and so they let them go. I don't think it's that complicated. I mean, you just see if, you know, you arrest somebody for something, see if they, hey, you know, we will make this go away if you can give us something on Keegan Klein. He's like, I don't have anything on Keegan Klein. And they're like, well, that didn't work. I don't know. They're not very good at their jobs.
That search was really expensive. It was like 5 or 6 weeks of search. A lot of people involved in that search. A lot of money. I think it was like around $1 million. So I think that law enforcement, they found some truth in Keegan's confession. For sure, there were some polygraphs. They went to search that river because they found some truth in Keegan's words, in my opinion. So
I would agree with that. I think especially if you watch like the Sergio dissecting it, like I find that very
well. It was a
compelling.
huge operation. Like they had to slow down the water flow and everything. Like it was a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was done in good faith or if it was done for show. You know,
Crash recreation was also involved.
I mean, I just don't know. I don't know that you can actually expect to get something from the river and have it be usable in any way, shape, or form. Like,
A phone and a knife. I mean,
Well,
there's potential.
they found lots of phones and knives and guns. I mean, they did find those things.
Yeah, they checked them.
Well, I mean, can you check them is more of a question. Like how are you going to tell that it has anything to do with anything?
Because you check.
What do you mean you check? Like, what do you check?
Every possible way. I mean, the SIM card for one, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, it doesn't take a genius to pull the SIM card out of a phone and not throw the SIM card in the phone. Like,
well, we're talking 2017 and maybe even a phone from 2015.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you have to be a genius to take the SIM card out of a phone and not throw the phone away with the SIM card in it. That would be pretty dumb. So if you find a phone and it doesn't have a SIM card, and like, okay, now what do you do? Like, you're not getting fingerprints or any DNA off of a phone off the bottom of the riverbed. It's going to be useless. So you might have the exact right thing, but there's no way you're ever going to know it. There's nothing to check.
I think there's plenty to check.
Well, you can think that, but like, there isn't. Like,
The IMEI number for one.
That would be on the SIM card, right?
Be on the phone.
Well, I would assume that they didn't find that then specifically.
But they looked.
Sure.
They hoped to find it. That's what they were looking for. They spent $1 million on it, hoping to, checking.
There were two options. They found something or they didn't find anything.
Well, there's a lot of gray area in between that because you can find something, but it not be very useful. Like, you can think you found the right thing, but like, if you can't really tell.
For instance, September 28th, I think, is when they stopped, when the search concluded. And then October 13th, they're interviewing Richard Allen. That's like 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks.
Good point.
Well,
yeah,
that would also equally support that it was done in show and like this didn't go anywhere. So then they went in a different direction.
Now, somebody gave them the name Richard Allen, and then they came up with the story of the lost tip.
Okay, but that's
what they don't want. That's what they don't want the public to find out, and I don't want the public to find that out either. If that's what happened.
You don't want the public to find out, but you're here saying that's what happened, like without any evidence of that.
Not for me. The truth must come out, but for them, it would suck.
Yeah, no. To me,
there just isn't anything that supports that's what happened in reality.
Timeline supports it completely.
Okay, but just because one thing happens before another thing happens doesn't mean that those two things are connected.
Well, one was $1 million thing, and the only confession that really actually exists in the case, and the other was the arrest of the suspect.
So this requires believing that there's some evidence that like is useful in apprehending Richard Allen, but that they keep it secret and not put it in the trial and risk not convicting him because they don't want to use the secret evidence.
Yeah, it's called fruit of a poison tree.
It's a stretch to believe that. It's a big stretch. Like, we start having to imagine a whole bunch of like things that.
Well, that's your opinion. It's your opinion.
No, it's not my opinion. It's where you're saying that's what happened. That they've got some secret evidence that they didn't use. Like, I'm just saying that's
no. You said it was a stretch. I'm saying that part's your opinion. I don't think it's a stretch.
You think that they would secretly keep out evidence that would help convict the guy that they're trying to convict?
Yeah, if they sat down with a group of people who actually knew the law and they told them, hey, the way you acquired this information, you did it in a legal means, with illegal means. Therefore, you can't bring it into the courtroom during a trial.
Well, there's nothing
So it's
illegal about
inadmissible.
the river.
No, but well, that's something that's been made available to the public. We're talking about something secret, right?
What about a negotiation? In this type of cases, negotiations are allowed between law enforcement and a suspect involved in this type of crimes. So maybe that was part of the negotiation here between law enforcement and Keegan.
I mean, if you're gonna make up a story, like at least make up the whole story. Like, well, like what possibly could like fill in this blank here of like why, like to what benefit if like. So I mean, Sleuth, you're saying like the river doesn't even matter in this scenario because it's
well, there's talk of stuff
they
that
got the
happened
name
before
from
the river.
somebody, but they don't
Yeah.
want you to know who they got the name from. Why? Like we fill in the blanks as far like even if
Well,
it's
there was
not
talk.
true, you're just gonna make up stuff, make up the
Okay.
whole story.
Well, here I'll fill in the blanks for you. Before the search and around the time they took Keegan Kline out of ISP custody, like right before the search, like a few days, apparently he was awarded some kind of freedoms. And that was made public on a YouTube channel that's been taken down. And coincidentally, the person that Rosie leaked the discovery to is that same individual. Well, he says that Keegan Kline was allowed to spend time with certain people, even drink alcohol, maybe even like a night of freedom.
Okay,
Is the rumor.
Yeah, it's a rumor.
And then he gave the name Richard Allen, and then they put it into the system, found out that Doolin had actually spoken with him, and they said, well, how are we going to use old information to achieve a search warrant? Well, we have to act like we overlooked it and then stumbled upon it. We can't use Keegan Kline as our source because of how we acquired.
You can use Keegan Kline as your source.
Not if it was illegal on what you were
It's
doing.
not. There's nothing illegal. Like
about whining and dining a suspect to get a name of Richard Allen. That's like a bribe, I think. I don't think there's. I think it's illegal. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think that they would be able to get that. I mean, I think they'd be able to use that.
It sounds scandalous to me. But it might have been necessary.
To me, the whole timing is just insane. So you have 5 years of a cold case, nothing happened. Well, some stuff, some noise, but we can agree that the case was cold during 5 years. Then we have the confession of Keegan at the base, at the Grissom Air Force Base. Then we have the search of the Wabash River, which was a direct consequence of the confession of Keegan Kline, according to the statements of law enforcement. And then in a couple of weeks, we have the arrest of Richard Allen.
October 13th.
The timing is...
It's crazy.
Something crazy.
It's crazy. You can't just overlook that and be like, oh, there's nothing there, blah, blah, blah. Look over here. You know, and then act like all this other shit is really important. Like that's the important stuff. That's what they don't want anybody to look at. And I get why. It sucks if it messes everything up. But I mean, I figured it out.
I do not see it. If they could have used Keegan Kline as a witness, a state's witness in this case, they absolutely would have.
How?
What do you mean how? As a witness, like you
what's the first thing that somebody says when you ask what Keegan Kline said? What do they say?
He's a liar.
He's a known liar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try using that in a trial.
It's still better than nothing. and it wasn't even considered. You know, the defense were the ones that were considering Keegan Kline as a witness. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
They had to abandon it. they did a good defense or a good prosecution because they knew if they can just prove that he's the bridge guy and they're not interested in the death penalty, that's all they're going for. That makes him a murderer because it truly does. So that's all they were going for. They're just like, we're going to prove that you're the guy on the bridge. Because if we can do that, you're the kidnapper and you're somebody that helped in the murder. That much we know. But when they start bringing up other people that are involved and it starts helping out the defense strategy and they don't need it, they're just going to abandon it altogether, wholeheartedly.
Okay,
and so entirely.
They're purposefully letting
Baldwin even said that in his interview.
Other
He
people
said
involved go free.
And those are Baldwin's words, not mine.
No, your words are that you think that other people are involved and law enforcement is specifically letting those people run free.
No, not specifically. They just don't have anything.
I think I think that's possible if a negotiation was on the table. Why not? If there was a negotiation between law enforcement and Keegan Klein, why not? There's
documents that were classified, really, that haven't been made public that are still relating to what happened at Grissom. Like, he's a CI, confidential informant, is basically what he's categorized as during that period and during that confession. He's a CI.
Yeah, that doesn't track, man. Like,
I have the documents.
Okay. Well, lots of people claim that they have lots of documents and receipts and stuff, and if nobody sees them, they may as well not exist. You know.
Well, StreamYard has a screen share option.
Can I share something?
It doesn't go, like, it doesn't prove anything. And
it doesn't disprove anything.
It doesn't make
either.
sense that they wouldn't use this to get a conviction. Like, that's the whole point.
Why wouldn't they? I thought you were like
I'm saying they would use it. They would absolutely use something useful.
Are you pro prosecution?
I'm pro prosecution of whoever is involved in this crime.
So you're not pro defense.
I'm pro defense of Richard Allen, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, I've seen zero anything that's convincing that Richard Allen is involved. And I still haven't seen anything. We've got all the same questions that we always had before anybody was arrested. None of them are answered.
I don't have any questions.
Everybody's still wondering. Well, I mean, you're wondering who else is involved.
No, I know who else was involved. For the most part.
Who else was involved, Sleuth?
Definitely Richard Allen. That's for sure.
Else, the word else.
If we have to start there before we can go past that, because he's definitely involved. If we can't agree on that, then I mean, there's nothing else for me to say or to say about it.
So you won't say who else you think is involved?
Well, I've already given my theory. I've made videos on it. I don't understand the question.
You don't understand the question, who else is involved?
Definitively?
You just said that you definitely know.
Well, we didn't agree on Richard Allen. And
I
you were
don't
saying
have to agree
people
with
that
you.
are involved.
I don't have to agree with
but
you.
That's our starting point.
I don't have
That's
to agree with who else you say. Either.
Semantics, cryptics.
So what's the question here, Sleuth?
No, it's
just need an interjection.
Who else is involved? Sleuth, intuition. Who else is involved?
Well, I'm gonna tell you my opinion here, Rafin. To me, the clients were involved, 100%. That's my conviction. And you can say that I'm stubborn, that I have a confirmation bias. But when I connect the dots here in this whole scenario, to me, the clients are 100% involved. And I take responsibility of this opinion of I have about the case here. To me, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying my theory is right, but when I connect the dots, it's just insane to think that they were not involved in this case. That's
I agree with that. Well, I
my
agree.
honest opinion.
But there's no evidence. There's nothing
I
to
agree.
prove it is the problem. There's just no proof of it. But I was covering a case today on a guy named Neil Martin Falls. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. He's basically somebody that everybody agrees, everybody in law enforcement, including the FBI, believes is a serial killer with at least 10 victims. But there's no DNA. There's nothing to tie him to it other than his timeline. But they're 100% convinced that he's their guy. Sometimes you just can't prove it.
Silence.
I mean, if you're coming up with a story where Keegan Kline gives the name Richard Allen, that certainly proves something.
I mean, you don't even consider that a possibility.
I think there would need to be a lot more explanation. Like, and I can't think of it, and you're not giving it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So
the timeline doesn't.
It's just like any other story that doesn't make any sense. Like, is it a possibility? I guess maybe, but like, there's no evidence that would make us think that.
The Anthony shot stuff doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. That's not evidence.
It is. Seriously. No, I think that there's lots of evidence that like.
So the guy who creates the Anthony Shots account, he's talking to Abby and Libby the day
correct
before, the night of, and the morning of.
That is all good evidence.
Confesses to the murder, and right after he confesses, they have Richard Allen's name. I mean, that's not ringing any bells for you?
I mean, I can't draw a conclusion for that because an equally plausible scenario and probably more probable is that, hey, they really thought it was Keegan Kline. They put all this money into this search. It came up nothing. And they're like, well, what are we going to do now? And they're just like, anything. And so they did anything.
But it was Kathy Shank that did it. On a whim.
I mean, do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. I think law enforcement is lying. It's not a lost tip. It's in the fucking Orion system. So, like, they always had access to these tips. They're not, like, disappearing. No one's finding something.
Tip 75. They must have looked at it 100 times.
You would think, but I don't really know. You know, I don't know that.
Apparently, it was lost somehow.
It wasn't lost.
The lost tip.
But it's not lost. And he was cleared. Like, those are things that we actually know. We don't know how he was cleared because they won't say.
Well, Holman said that he doesn't know and that they were trying to find out who wrote that.
Well, Jerry Holman is a liar.
You mean the same guy that I was just accusing of holding back information about where they got the name Richard Allen? So you strategically like the police and then hate them when it like serves your purpose.
No, I do not like the police at all.
I'm noticing that. Fiend.
Really? Yeah, you'll just make up shit like
that's a bias, man.
Yeah, you'll just make up shit and say like I like the police. I don't. Like I'm very clear about that. Not even on anything to question there. But you'll just say the opposite.
You said you were pro-prosecution.
For people that are factually guilty of committing crimes, yes, I think they need to be prosecuted.
But in order for it to be a fact, you have to basically agree with it first.
I mean,
qualify?
for me personally, yes, correct. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some facts out there that
convicted and wrongful convictions happen all the time,
Yeah.
and there isn't anything that's convincing me that somebody is involved in a crime.
So are you like one of these? He's most likely the guy, but you haven't proved it.
Who?
You, Richard Allen. Are you like?
No,
well, he's probably the guy, but you guys
I've
haven't
seen nothing
proved,
that
haven't proven it.
implicates Richard Allen. There's zero. I've seen zero.
You don't buy into the
same amount of evidence that I've always had against Richard Allen, which is nothing.
You don't buy into the tool mark stuff?
Any sense? What was your question?
You don't buy into the tool mark stuff?
No, absolutely not.
What if it set him free? What if they retested it in a different laboratory, and they were able to come to the conclusion that it wasn't his gun?
No, dude, it's junk science. Like the tool mark analysis means absolutely nothing to me, no matter what. Period. And it won't. It still means nothing to me.
Okay, then all you have left is the three girls who he ran into, and then said that it was Richard Allen.
To ever say the word three, it just is.
Let's not. That's semantic stuff. Let's
not
get caught up in the weeds,
math, dude. Three.
If you're going to get caught up in the weeds, how are we going to accomplish anything?
That is not semantics. That's just straight up like semantic. Kindergarten, preschool level math. 3 is not 4. 4 is the number that comes after 3. 3 is the number that comes before 4. They're not the same number. They're different numbers.
God. That was a word salad.
Oh my God! You're like you can't
word
wrap
salad.
your brain around it. That 3 is not 4.
Not when you're going to go 1 + 2 is 3, and 3 + 4. It's like, what are you even talking about? He saw 3 girls. He gave a great detail of these people. Even mentioned that they were babysitting, which in fact they were, right?
No, there's partially correct.
Yeah.
His description.
No, it's correct. They were babysitting.
One girl seemed to be babysitting the other 2 girls, and that they all look similar.
Yeah, and wasn't that factual? Isn't that what was going on with those witnesses?
No.
What he described?
Because there weren't 3, there were 4. And
so are you trying to tell me that Richard Allen described 3 other girls?
3 older girls and 1 younger girl. It's not 1 older girl and 2 younger girls. And
see, that's it right there. You're just not accepting the evidence. That's the problem. You're not accepting what's right there.
That's not evidence.
Yeah, I mean, we can't argue about it because you won't accept what it is.
You won't accept that 3 isn't 4.
I know what was going on. 3, there was 4, but that's not what was important. What was important is that he described them and they described him. That was a huge factor in the trial.
Absolutely did not describe
Who
him.
cares what I think about it? We're talking about what went on in the trial, right? That was a very huge part of it.
No, we're talking about the Wabash River search.
No, we're talking about evidence that you would buy into. Or did you forget already?
I'm familiar with everything that, like, as much as I can be with a not public trial. I'm familiar with enough of what came out in the trial.
And I asked you a question about what would you buy into.
None of it is in the slightest way
not even
convincing to me. None of it.
See,
especially that part of it.
Well, I rest my case then.
Right. You can find that convincing. I think that's silly. I find it not convincing. I think that
agree to disagree then.
Right. Yes. No, I do not understand that we don't agree. Like, no question. I don't think that, like, most intelligent people are going to pretend that 3 is 4 and 4 is 3. And, like, these descriptions are, like, matching when they're certainly not. Like, coming up to, I mean,
well, I'm just
talking about, like,
if you want to break it down. Witness
in
account and recollection is it's like a really strange thing. Like trying to remember something that you weren't intending to remember is really hard to do. It's something that most people can't do clearly. That's why sketches aren't admissible in court. They're just a tool to help during the investigative part of everything. So it is, you are wrong. It is not math. And sometimes 4 is 3 and 3 is 4. So you're completely wrong, because in witness account, that's how it works. You're not counting, you're not taking notes.
So you're saying that you're saying eyewitness testimony or eyewitness testimony and eyewitnesses are bad. But you're also saying they're good in this case because it points to the person you wanted to be.
No, they didn't help at all in this case.
Right. Then why bring it up? If you want to discount, I'm the one.
It's not about the eyewitness account. It's the no. Hold on.
Discount, but both witness.
You're missing the point.
Witness testimonies.
You're missing the point. The point is that we can agree that they both saw each other.
No,
and those
agree
yes.
that.
Well, that's why we can't move on.
Right.
I
completely disagree because it doesn't make any sense.
That's the most obvious part.
It doesn't match up at all.
Case is that the girls that saw the bridge guy are the same girls that Richard Allen saw. That's why he's in prison.
There's no indication that the girls saw a bridge guy. They saw somebody.
This is the beauty of Libby's video.
This
is the beauty of it. And some people won't give her credit for this.
Is bridge guy. There's zero about their testimony that indicates that it's Richard Allen.
Just real quick.
There's zero indicating that they each of them even saw the same guy. Because their descriptions don't match each other.
This is why Libby's video is so important. And I know a lot of people out there try to take this away from her. But without that video, the girls that saw Richard Allen wouldn't have been able to say, yes, hey, the guy in this video right here, that's the guy we saw. Without that video, they had nothing.
I don't think anybody said that.
A lot of people try to take that away from her.
I don't think they've said that the guy in the video is the person that we saw.
Yes, they said it during trial. It's in the PCA. Like that's.
It's not, man.
Wow.
We've been over this before, where I know you.
No, I felt
read
talking to a wall.
PCA.
3 is 4 and 4 is 3.
I know. Yeah, I know. But you really struggle.
Is that what we want to get?
Concept that
should we start there again? I digress.
Word
salad. 4 3 3 4.
Numbers are word salad.
1 2 3 4 4 3 2 1. Do you even count, bro?
Do you? You're the one that's struggling with the 3 versus 4 thing. Most people, I promise you, most people don't struggle with it.
For somebody that's so good at math, you didn't even consider the variable, which is the whole witness recollection and its flaws.
No, I don't think the witness recollection is great, which proves, like, if you want to discount it, discount it all.
When it comes to sketches, yeah. But now when you have a video, it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy.
You can't see who that fuck it is on the video, dude.
Yeah, you just might have thought, hey, he had a jean jacket on.
Somebody the day they had the video.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, I've learned a lot about witnesses and how that whole thing works, dude. It's tricky.
It's tricky where you just want to pick and choose when it matters and when it doesn't.
Well, when you're trying to find something in your memory bank, you're looking for that same image. Because you remember seeing it, but you can't describe it because you can't really see it in your mind's eye. But when you see it on the photo, you're like, that's what I was searching for in my brain. That's what I saw. The person in Libby's video, that's the bridge guy. That's the guy that we bumped into when we were leaving the trails. That's how that works. But if you just say, here, let me give you a sketch of the guy, you're not going to be able to recall it because you weren't meant to. But if you have it popped up on a screen in front of you, it's like total recall. It's like 2 weeks.
What if the guy is right there in the room? Like, is that not better, even better than a very blurry like video, like just a tiny glimpse of a guy far like in the distance? What if the guy's standing right there? Wouldn't that be a whole lot better? Where you can be like, "Yep, that's the guy right there." You know, like, I think that we've been over where you don't watch a lot of trials or anything, but like that's a very common thing to identify somebody in a trial.
In a video?
No, the person in the room. The person in the room, dude.
Because they did identify the guy in the video.
They say, "Hey, is that the guy you saw? Like, is that the defendant? Can you describe what they're wearing?"
Well, his face was covered.
His face was covered in the courtroom.
No, when he ran into the three girls, or the four girls, sorry.
So they can't identify him.
No, they can now that they have a video. Hey, that's the guy we saw.
But they did not identify Richard Allen.
No, they
had every opportunity to.
Richard Allen identified Richard Allen.
Ask these witnesses, "Hey, is that the guy that you saw? Right, this guy sitting right there at that table?" And they didn't do that.
Yeah, they did. Right on the video. They said, "Up, there's the guy that we saw right there on the video." They didn't know it was Richard Allen. He had his face covered.
Richard Allen is sitting in the courtroom, dude. Right
if his
across
face
from the
was
witness.
covered, how are they going to recognize him, dude?
Right. So they didn't recognize Richard Allen.
They recognized the bridge guy.
There's nothing that indicates that.
Yes, they saw the video. Thank goodness Liberty took that video.
But Sleuth, he had his face covered. So
Give me
how
a
are they going to say it's Richard Allen? Exactly. You're arguing both parts, dude.
I concede.
Right. You should, because you're wrong.
Out of exhaustion.
I think that we can agree that we don't know the whole story here. That's one point we can agree, all of us.
Well, yeah, I can agree we don't know the whole story because law enforcement are liars and they didn't lose the tip no matter how many times they want to make up that as part of the story. Correct. There is something more to it. And
What's
there's also
proof of that?
Very obvious things like
you don't have any proof of that.
The folder was marked cleared, but we won't say who cleared it or how it was cleared. We absolutely know in reality there's definitely somebody responsible for something, but they won't tell us. And they certainly know. So yes, we don't have the whole story.
So you like that conspiracy, but not mine.
It's not a conspiracy. It's completely
logical. The narrative is that Shank found it in a cabinet drawer, right? In a drawer. She opened it.
No,
and there it was.
Stop skipping ahead, dude.
That's how they found Richard Allen.
Their story is that it was marked cleared, right?
When they
had
found
cleared
it
written on it. So the pen can't write itself and write cleared on something. Somebody has to physically do that. That's just
Doolin handed it to a female FBI
somebody is responsible for doing that.
Employee.
What's that?
Well, we know that Doolin handed it to a female FBI employee.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I don't know who cleared it.
I don't know who cleared it, but I'm saying that's a good place to start, right? Doolin and then that female employee. Where did it go from there?
Right, I'm saying that. I'm not saying that I know.
I'm with you there. I'm trying to join with you.
It has nothing to. There's nothing to base it off of. But certainly somebody cleared it, and even if it was completely by accident, then that's the answer. You know.
There you go. Yeah, that's probably what happened.
No, but you can just say that, but that's not probably what happened. There's nothing that makes that probably what happened. We just don't know. We have
it's likely
lack of information.
It's likely, right?
How he was cleared. Most likely, no, that's not how it happened.
So why
Most
is your
likely-
conspiracy
most
better than
likely
mine?
He was cleared for good reason. Because
That's a
you don't
conspiracy.
just clear people in a murder investigation for no reason at all. That doesn't.
So
make
you
a lot
don't
of
agree
sense.
that Kathy Shank just stumbled across the tip?
It's somewhat beside the point. I'm not ruling it out
Because you don't want to agree
possible.
that if you don't, that's a conspiracy.
I don't believe it. You also just can't stumble across a tip that's in the Orion system. It's in a database that's just
Yeah, but you got folders. It could be hidden.
No,
you can.
it's not. That's not.
It's like a computer.
Yes,
What's the
dude. I
difference?
mean, it is like a computer, but the tips are all numbered.
Maybe this one wasn't. Maybe it was
This one
labeled
was
cleared.
numbered. They absolutely were numbered.
Maybe it was in a folder of cleared early tips that were missed.
Right, and
titled.
that requires somebody. It requires a person to do the clearing part. So that, like, there's not anything to argue about here because this is just the way reality works. If it was cleared, somebody is responsible for clearing.
Yes, okay, they cleared it. Now what?
That is a name that is being not provided to us.
Okay, so then
and the rationale for doing it, like maybe they were daydreaming about.
But you already said it could have been done by a mistake, dude.
Cleared on every single tip. Like,
I'm exhausted again.
Is that realistic? No, not really. Is it possible? Sure. Like maybe
I'm about to check out.
Haphazardly clearing every single tip like a maniac. Not realistic though.
Good talk, Phoenix. Good talk.
I think we are never gonna be like in agreement of this whole situation here. I didn't want to participate too much in the conversation to have like a good balance here because I tend to agree with Slut in most of his opinions, but I respect Finn's opinions as well. And yeah, to me, the fact that this investigation was so poorly conducted, in my opinion, that's why I think some people are just suspicious about a lot of things here. And I think we are never going to change our minds.
Well, I need something new. I mean, I'm willing to change my mind with evidence. So
Yeah,
Richard
me too.
Allen, if he confesses and he tells us what we're missing, I'll concede to that as well.
Yeah, we have to see
right. That's the point.
Factual evidence for sure.
If a guy confesses 100 times and you still don't have like any of the information, like that's a big red flag.
For a false confession, I agree with that.
Right.
But it has been 7 years, and they could have hidden evidence.
I mean, I know I'm in the minority here, where you think that there's other, like you think that Richard Allen's involved, but other people are involved. Not realistic. It's not realistic. Someone confesses 100 times, but doesn't throw somebody else under the bus.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy.
It's
a conspiracy.
It's just not realistic. It's not realistic that somebody would do that.
That's your opinion.
It is my opinion. I think it would be a widespread opinion that's not a plausible scenario where someone's going to give very like undetailed accounts of anything that happened, but in reality they could provide everything that detailed that happened and who else was involved, but they never do any of that.
But
that doesn't make any sense.
Finn, Richard Allen, he pled non-guilty, right?
Correct.
So he's not gonna rat on something on someone else because he's gonna do like a harakiri. You know what I mean? If he says that the Keegan or the clients were involved here, is something that's not gonna play in favor of himself. You know what I mean? That's why he's not ratting on someone else.
Help you either, right? Like like you're saying, these confessions, like.
False confessions are a real thing, but you gotta make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, not apples and oranges.
Details for the other people involved, because that would hurt them. Like that doesn't make any sense. You're trying to have both ways, and it just doesn't make
Well,
any
let me
sense.
ask you this. What makes you think that the confessions were false?
Mostly his mental state, the volume, and the lack of detail.
Even some of the calls where he was really calm.
Yes.
I mean, psychosis is a real thing. That's why I'm asking. I'm just asking you why you think that's what we're dealing with here. And that calm phone call, I think, is proof that he wasn't under psychosis.
Well,
and he confessed.
You're not a doctor, and the doctor.
You don't have to be a doctor to have calm. Do you need to be a doctor to give somebody stitches? Do I need to be a dentist to pull your tooth?
I mean, I wouldn't let you pull my fucking tooth.
What about a tattoo artist? Do I have to be a tattoo artist to give somebody a tattoo?
I mean, if you're gonna equate tattoo artists with MDs, I mean,
do I have to be a Picasso to paint a picture?
I mean, you say a lot of ridiculous things, but like you're just making more and more ridiculous things.
I'm trying to get in on the word salad.
There is no word salad.
Some croutons.
I don't find anything that's presented to be compelling or convincing at all. And lots of people absolutely agree with the same thing. And I think that it's pretty reasonable that if you want to, like, hey, most likely this guy isn't involved at all. Or,
well, here's a good point. What about his alibi?
Not involved at all. Because there's nothing that, like, indicates that he is.
What about the alibi? How do you not have an alibi if you're innocent?
What's your alibi?
I was at work, clocked in.
Let's see it.
I have it.
Yeah. Well, I think
I've showed it on a live stream one time.
Did you? Okay, good.
Yeah. So I'm covered. What about Richard Allen?
We don't know, do we?
That's kind of strange, isn't it? That doesn't mean anything to you.
Well,
this is like my last.
It's not
my
unusual
last
for
chance.
a defendant. It's not unusual for a defendant to not testify at their trial.
What about his mom and his wife?
I have a question for you.
So if you're the only person
guys,
give your whereabouts at a time, it's not going to come in.
A question for you guys. Now that we are talking about the alibi of Richard Allen, his cell phone was available at the time of the murders. When he went to talk to Dan Dolan, he took his cell phone information, the serial number or IMEI. I don't know what's the right word of that. So they were supposed to know what were the cell phone activity of Richard Allen at the time of the murders. No, that would corroborate or disregard his alibi, let's say, you know. What do you think about that? The cell phone was available at that time.
Well, he said he had another email address too. I wonder if that's associated with that phone. He said it was a Yahoo email address, but he never provided it, and I haven't seen it in any documentation. So I think that could be possibly pivotal.
But that's an email address. I'm talking about the phone.
But sometimes when you get a new phone and it's old,
Cryptex, if 3 can be,
they were associated with Yahoo.
Sorry, you are talking at the same time, guys.
No, I'm saying it depends. You know, dealing with these old phones could be associated. Like when you register with the phone, you register it with your email, right?
No, it's not how phones work at all, dude.
That's how my phone works.
Your phone works where you have to use an email address to use your phone.
Yeah, that way if somebody tries to hack it, you get a phone call or a text or something or a message.
You get a phone call on your email?
Or a text.
You get a text on your email?
Yeah, you can receive text emails.
Because there's a lot of noise about the cell phone of Richard Allen being lost over time. But at the time of the murders, at the time Richard Allen went to talk to Dan Doolin, his cell phone was available. So I'm pretty sure that
right. I mean, they had the information that they needed to look at, like, you know, geofencing and whatnot, but the state kept geofencing out.
Wouldn't he need a Google account?
The state had a world-renowned geofencing expert lined up, and they decided they did not want to use that. So do I think that there's something on the geofencing that is not helpful for their case? Yes, absolutely.
So how do you become part of a geofence? Don't you have to participate in Google, right?
Yeah, if you have an Android, it's kind of automatic, or if you have your Google location on, which most people probably do, whether they know it or not.
And how does that happen? You need an email for that, right?
For your, yeah, if you're like on an iPhone, but like we're not talking about an iPhone.
No, to appear in a geofence, you need to participate in Google because they use Google mapping.
Right. So
and
like,
if you don't have a Google account, you're not going to show up. In order to have a Google account, you need a Google email address.
Your Google account is going to have an email address, a Gmail account tied to it. Correct. But we're not talking about an iPhone.
Silence again.
Well, we don't know. I mean, it's just another thing that we just don't know anything about. We don't know what's on the geofencing. It was kept out of the trial by the state. So why would the state keep something out of trial? Because it's not helpful for their case, or it's harmful for their case. That's how, like,
or
lawyering works, is like you try to keep out the stuff that's going to be harmful for your case. And they did.
Or they can account for everything. Jesus Christ, Fiend. Or they can account for everybody that's in the geofence. So it would be pointless. And if by divulging that information, it would just draw suspicion to innocent people.
Or guilty people. Yeah, I think it's completely reasonable that there's something on the geofencing that is harmful for the state's case. And that's why it was kept out.
But like what, for example?
And why
was you just said, like, it's going to show other people, and maybe one of them, those people are the people that did it. But if that person isn't your defendant, that's a conflict.
Well, we don't need the geofence to know that there were people out on the bridge during the murders.
Yeah, but we don't know everybody that was out there.
So why wouldn't they be considered suspects?
I mean, they should all have been, like, investigated.
They were probably cleared. That's why.
And Richard Allen was cleared.
Apparently, yeah. But not really. By mistake.
I mean, not really. Yes, really.
No.
That's what the word cleared means.
It's because all they ever really wanted and what they missed out on was that secondary interview, like a real interview. You have people like Dan Doolin that go out and put the feelers out and take, preliminary notes.
Yeah, we saw this with the
I'm out of here,
girls
Fiend.
Well,
take care, Cryptex.
They interviewed them once early, and then they did not follow up with them. Like, they're able to clear people early without doing another follow-up interview. And that's what happened with Richard Allen. He was cleared on just his first interview with Dan Doolin.
I think Sleuth was tired at the end. He left.
He is tired.
You have the capacity to do that thing. No, I think it was a nice conversation and a civil conversation. Obviously, there are two sides of in this case, man, and I can understand both of them. I don't blame you, if I can use that word in a sarcastic way, let's say, because this investigation was really crap. So I understand your point.
Yeah, I mean, most likely the investigation was really bad, but we just actually don't know enough about the investigation and what they did. I mean, we know a lot of stuff that they didn't do.
Yeah, no, I know, but again, I didn't want to participate too much during the conversation because I tend to agree with Sleuth points. To me, when I connect the dots, to me, it's highly likely that Richard Allen was connected. But I respect your opinion too, Finn, and it was nice to have that conversation. It was like constructive, in my opinion. So I really appreciate that you were able to discuss about it here in my channel and in that civil way. I think you have good points, both of you.
No problem.
And it was always nice to have you here, man, in the channel, of course.
Yeah, I'm glad Sleuth could make it.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to discuss, Finn? Or
no, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, it was cool, man, to have you here, guys. It was an interesting conversation, in my opinion. I intended to do a live streaming yesterday about the Wabash River. Rokus was on the channel, so I couldn't do my streaming. Today, I wanted to do that streaming, but it's doing yourself. You were here, so maybe I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But I like that type of unexpected guest. That's cool, man.
Yeah, you need to make an AI song about the clam jam.
Yeah, for sure. I think, man, it's almost 1 hour and 30 minutes here, so I think I'm gonna just preparing. I'm just gonna prepare to sleep tonight. So thank you, Finn.
Have a good night.
Stay in touch. Thank you for calling, and see you soon, man.
See ya.
Ciao. And see you guys in the chat. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I didn't read your comments at all, so maybe tomorrow I'm gonna read the comments. I don't know if it was shaky or not. I trust my moderators. And see you guys. See you tomorrow, and have a nice night. See you. Bye-bye.